So mechanical analysis of the cardiac cycle can be done by drawing this pressure on Y and volume and left ventricular volume on x-axis. So the end point of the systole, which is point A, and the mitral valve opens, and the ventricle is filled from the atrium, and first passively A to B, and then actively start to actively press fill until point C. And then isovolumetric contraction of the ventricular wall makes dramatic increase in pressure at a fixed volume, which is depicted here as C to D. And then aortic valve opens and the blood is ejected from the ventricle to aorta, which is D to EF. So now the volume goes down until this aortic valve closed down. So now isovolumetric relaxation returns the ventricle back to the starting point, which is at the end of the systole. So you look at it here, the volume of this AFA and CD, which is end systolic volume and end diastolic volume, that difference is defined as stroke volume. And you can see this aortic pressure from about 80 to about over 120. So now think about the work of the heart on the blood. So what is work? Work in physics is typically defined as if there's a mass, you push the mass with a force, and then that force makes a displacement x. So the force multiplied by displacement is defined as work. But in involving the fluid, the force, usually we don't use force, but the force per unit area. So that force per unit area is defined as pressure. And to make this area the same, area times displacement is area times displacement involves the volume change. So pressure times change in volume is now you can calculate as a work. So during the one net cardiac cycle, what is the work for the blood to do on the system boundary of the heart? Is the work done by the heart during the ejection period, which is EFG is the ejection period, and then work done by the blood on the heart during the filling period, which is A to C. So the work as a net is D to F of the pressure multiplied by volume change minus A to C, which is a pressure times volume change. So that is effectively the area of inside this. And here, because this is going towards the left-hand side, so the work of the net of the blood will come out to be minus. Here's a homework exercise for you to just simply try it out, is try to calculate the work done by the heart during one cardiac cycle. Then you can calculate one cycle, how much of work does the heart need. And you can easily calculate the heart beats about 60 times per minute, one heart. And throughout the day, how much work the heart needs to do. Then you may calculate how much food of the energy source we have to intake to keep at least the heart go. So for those who are more interested in here, I have this reference which also shows the QPRS, PQRS, and T electrocardiogram, which is coordinated with the cardiac cycle and the volume. And also there's another drawing, so you can actually take a look deeper into here. So let's summarize. The cardiovascular system is a pump, which is the heart, and which circulates specialized fluid, which is blood, through a system of branched vessels. And the blood is a fluid composed of the cells in a protein-rich fluid called the plasma. And that cells include mostly RBC, red blood cell, about 40%. Why? That transports oxygen to the tissue. While there's also another type of cells called white blood cells, which is involved in the inflammatory response and immune function. And also there's a platelet, which is important for the blood clotting. And many biophysical properties of the circulation can be understood by engineering model as systemic approach. So for example, fluid flow in the cylindrical tube provides us an insight about how much of resistance or will be required depending on the diameter of the vessel. So that in a circulatory system, we realize the sudden decrease in vessel diameter through the arterial and capillary is responsible for most of the pressure drop in the body fluid system. And the heart, lastly, is equipped with a muscular wall that contracts, to pump blood from its chambers, which are both atria and ventricle, to other parts of the body. And the heart contracts rhythmically. The goal is to create blood pressure, especially at the aorta and pulmonary artery, which drives the blood flow throughout the system and throughout the pulmonary lungs. So with that, I'm going to finish here, and thank you very much for your attention.